Good morning, students. Welcome to yet another session of English, Standard 7th. Today, we are going to see the lesson Chasing the Sea Monster. This part from the book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, book written by Jules Verne. Now, who was Jules Verne? Jules Verne was a French writer. He is known as the father of science fiction. He wrote about rockets, space travel, and submarines when such things were unknown. In this passage from his novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, he describes how people on a ship think of the submarine as an animal and try to chase and hunt it. Now, let's see the characters in this. Commander Farragut, Professor Aronnax, Ned Land and the crew member, and many more. But these are the main characters. Now let's see the storyline. During the year 1866, ships of various nationalities sighted a mysterious sea monster, which it is later suggested might be a gigantic narwhal. The US government assembles an expedition in New York City to find and destroy the monster. Professor Pierre Aronnax, a French marine biologist and the story's narrator, is in town at the time and receives a last-minute invitation to join the expedition. He accepts. The Canadian whaler and master harpooner Ned Land and Aronnax's faithful manservant Conseil are also among the participants. The expedition leaves Manhattan's 34th St. Pierre aboard the US Navy frigate Abraham Lincoln, then travels south around Cape Horn into the Pacific Ocean. After a 5-month search ending off Japan, the frigate locates and attacks the monster, which damages the ship's radar. The three protagonists are hurled into the sea and ultimately climb onto the monster itself, which they are startled to find is a futuristic submarine. They wait on the deck of the vessel until morning, when they are captured, hauled inside, and introduced to the submarine's mysterious manufacturer and commander, Captain Nemo. Now, this is a storyline. Now, let's go and read the lesson. 2.6 Chasing the Sea Monster. Our frigate wanted to go back, but the unearthly animal came at us with a speed double our own. We gasped. More stunned than afraid, we stood mute and motionless. The animal caught up with us, played with us. It made a full circle around the frigate and wrapped us in sheets of electricity that were like luminous dust. At any instant, it could have dashed against our ship. Meanwhile, I was surprised to see that our warship was fleeing, not fighting. I commented on this to Commander Farragut. His face, ordinarily so emotionless, showed great astonishment. Professor Aronnax, he answered me, I don't know what kind of fearsome creature I'm up against. And I don't want my frigate running foolish risks in all this darkness. Besides, how should we attack this unknown creature? How should we defend ourselves against it? Let's wait for daylight and then we'll play a different role. The whole crew stayed on their feet all night long. No one even thought of sleeping. Unable to compete with the monster's speed, a frigate, the Abraham Lincoln, slowed down. For its part, the animal mimicked the frigate, simply rode with the waves but did not leave the field of battle. However, near midnight it disappeared, or to use a more appropriate expression, it went out like a glowworm. Had it fled from us? We didn't know and were filled with fear and hope at the same time. But at 12:53, a deafening hiss could be heard. resembling the sound made by a water spout expelled with tremendous intensity. By then, Commander Farragut, Ned Land, and I were on the afterdeck, peering eagerly into the darkness. Tell me, Ned Land, isn't that the noise cetaceans make when they spurt water from their blowholes? The very noise, sir, but this one's way louder. So there can be no mistake. There's definitely a whale lurking in our waters. Near 2 o'clock in the morning, the core of light reappeared, 5 miles away from the Abraham Lincoln. We stayed on the alert until daylight, getting ready for action. Whaling gear was set up along the railings. Our chief officer loaded the blunderbusses, which can launch harpoons as far as a mile, and long duck guns with exploding bullets that can wound and kill even the most powerful animals. Ned Land was content, so the most powerful animals. So Ned Land was content to sharpen his harpoon, a dreadful weapon in his hands. At 6 o'clock, day began to break, and with the dawn's early light, the animal's electric glow disappeared. At 7 o'clock, At 7 o'clock, a very dense morning mist spread around us. Our best spyglasses were unable to pierce it. The outcome, disappointment and anger. At 8 o'clock, the mist rolled away and the horizon grew wider and clearer. Suddenly, Ned Land's voice could be heard. There's the thing in question. Aston to port, the harpooner shouted. Every eye looked towards the point indicated. There, a mile and a half from the frigate, a long blackish body emerged, a meter above the waves. Quivering violently, its tail was creating a considerable current. The crew were waiting impatiently for orders from their leader. The latter, after carefully observing the animal, ordered the engineer to sail full steam towards the animal. 3 cheers greeted this order. The hour of battle had sounded. A few moments later, the Abraham Lincoln headed straight for the animal. Unconcerned, the latter let us come nearer. It got up a little speed and kept its distance. This chase dragged on for about 3/4 of an hour without the frigate getting any closer to the sea animal. At this rate, it was obvious that we would never catch up with it. Now, in this first video, children, we are going to read only till here. Now, let us go through the meanings that we have seen till now. The first page. Frigate. Frigate means small speedy ship used in war. Unearthly. Strange, not like those found on earth. Luminous. Bright, full of light. Bright or full of light. Fearsome. Scary or frightening. Crew. People working on the ship. Gasped. Take a sudden loud breath. Mimicked. Copy of behavior. Then next page. Cetaceans. Marine animals like a whale. Lurking. Hiding. Whaling gear. Equipment used to hunt whales. Blunderbusses. Types of gun. Duck guns. Also type of guns. Harpoon. Pointed edge to which a rope is tied, especially used to catch a sea animal. And the last one. Sail full steam means sail at full speed. Then astern, towards the rear part of a ship. In this page, the narrator, Professor Aronnax, tells us that he was on the frigate Abraham Lincoln, a small, speedy ship used in war, with Commander Farragut, Ned Land, and other crew members, and wanted to go back, but suddenly an unearthly animal, according to them, was spinning around them in a circle, playing and creating a sheet of electricity, a shining circle of light. Everyone thought that it would collide or hit the frigate. The narrator says, though being the warship, it was fleeing and not fighting, afraid of the unknown, unseen danger, as Commander Farragut said, just because he did not want his ship to put in such a danger, as he was unaware how to defend his crew and ship, especially in the dark night. The whole crew also supported him and was ready till the daybreak. Though they followed the monster, it was mimicking or copying the frigate's behavior. Means if Abraham Lincoln, the frigate, slowed the monster, the monster also slowed, and vice versa. And riding the waves, it stayed nearby the frigate till midnight and then disappeared, throwing the light in that dark night like a glowworm. Glowworm is the insect that shines in the night. In Hindi, what we call jugnu. Okay. Now, the crew was in a dilemma and did not understand whether the monster had run away. But at the same time, a deafening sound, a hissing sound, as the whale throws the water from the blowhole above on its head, was heard, and everyone was on the afterdeck to examine and decide that there was surely a whale around the ship. Then, nearly at 2 o'clock again, the ray of light appeared, almost 5 miles away from Abraham Lincoln the frigate, and got ready with before the daylight with whaling gear, blunderbusses, which are the types of gun, harpoons, pointed edged weapon used to catch a sea animal, the duck guns, and exploding bullets which could kill even the most powerful animals. Nearly at 6 o'clock, the day began to break and the light of the animal disappeared. After an hour, there was mist all over and nothing could be seen, not even by the best spy glasses they had. At 8 o'clock, the picture became clear and the sea monster could be seen a mile and a half away from the frigate. It was a long, blacking body just seen a meter above the waves, running violently away with its tail, creating a considerable current. The crew were on their toes, waiting for the orders from their leaders to attack the monster and ordered to sail towards it. Now the crew was full of cheer and ready for the war, but the monster kept its distance, sailing with speed at the same time. This chase dragged on for about 3/4 of an hour. Still the frigate could not move any closer to the animal and thought in this manner would still never catch up with it. So this is all what we have read, the explanation for what we have read. Now we will see the next part in the next video. Okay children? Now let us go and see the meanings that we have done till now. Now children, all these meanings you are going to copy in your notebook in very good handwriting. Also along with this, the new words that are introduced that you feel were a bit harder for you. You are going to write it down. Read, learn and write 3 times each in your book. Okay. Thank you for watching patiently, children. This is your teacher Dipti Kamalwar signing off. Let us meet in the next session of English, that is in the next video. Until then, goodbye.